Oh, what is up, everybody? This is Marshall Lee of DonkeyJawProjects.com, and this is the Early Bird Artcast. And it's quite early. We're back during the week on a round. Well, I wanted to start at around 5:30. Now it's about 6 a.m. Eastern Time. May or may not have some people joining us, but today I'm going to talk about promoting your comic project. Like on crowdfunding and stuff, but just in general. So I'm excited to do just that. I'm also going to get to the drawing stuff here in a sec. Let me just do a little screen share. Hopefully this will work. There's just a lot going on. So, I'm trying to be productive while also promoting and stuff like that. So here we go. I'm doing like 5 things at once. It's awesome. All right. Excuse me. So, promoting your comic. Now, I mean, I'm kind of in some ways always talking about this, but I'm going to talk about it some more. And I don't know. I just we've been very involved. A lot of us, a lot of my friends, we've been involved in what is. I love it when the computer does things I don't say for it to do. But anyways, having the Werewolves and Unicorns anthology going on, and the Lone Wolf anthology, and helping my friends do the Hero project and all these other things, retro, all these other things, and there's more to come too after the kicks. All of these projects, there's more coming of like close friends, but nothing that I'm specifically related to, but of course I'll be shouting out my friends' Kickstarters and stuff because, I'm always happy to do that, especially when I really like their stuff, which I do. So anyways, a lot of people wonder, how do you do this? How do you make it work? Um, and a lot of people, want to do better at promoting, their comic, and we don't have great examples in like mainstream comics. They don't really know what they're doing, it seems like, or if they do, they just don't care to try very hard. And so we're kind of here figuring it out on our own, I guess, and it is what it is. It kind of, people might think of that as a detriment, but I actually think of that as like an opportunity. We're kind of lucky that we're in this position where the people who should be going hard at figuring this comic stuff out, and promoting comics, aren't doing it. So it's like it leaves the opportunity for us to find that audience, and that audience to not be too drowned out. Now, I think one of the biggest mistakes we can do in promoting our comic is trying to um, trying to focus on the typical comic book buyer, because the typical comic book buyer has been neglected. And so that means that they're kind of oversaturated with, kind of the market that, like, because basically the typical comic book market are those people who go to comic book shops, people like myself, actually. um, but that's only a small market for one, and it's dwindled more and more because it hasn't been served well. So we have to reach out to people who would be, that market, but they've been kind of they've been neglected. So, you know, basically we need to reach out to anybody who would like the subject matter of the kind of comic we're currently promoting. So, yeah, the biggest mistake I think is to only focus on them. That I'm not saying you don't have to, it's not good to, reach out to comic shops and stuff like that. Of course, do that. It'd be silly not to go to that market, to a certain degree. But, um, you know, just realize that there's a lot of opportunity outside of that. And probably the most opportunity is outside of that. Um, so yeah, let's see. So the first kind of tip, and this is going to be like a tip that comes back a lot, is be creative. I've talked about this a lot, but as writers and artists, we kind of have an advantage over other people who are marketers, like just people who are just straight up salespeople or marketers, because we're already always invested in this creative, mode of thinking, and we don't realize that we kind of have a marketing superpower um, that a lot of people struggle, to get to have basically. So I mean, the thing is it's not really that big of a gap probably for actual marketers because people just are creative. We think of creativity as the arts and stuff like that, which sure, that's the most obvious example. But creativity comes in all shapes and sizes. In every single industry, there's creativity, or there could be at least. Um, Even the sciences, Um, Einstein emphasized creativity and imagination and stuff as being vital to his process. Um, so, you know, it's good to be creative, and that's good news to people like us because we like being creative. So, this, and then the other thing to kind of couple with that is have fun with it. Make it fun for your audience, make it fun for you. Um, so there's that. You want to create like promotional kind of campaigns and just like little memes and stuff. Again, I'm learning a lot. Um, Basically, when I think of promotion, I think about Stan Lee a lot. He actually did promote comics well, even though he wasn't 100% focused on comics. He was trying to get the movie deals going and stuff. Um, he still had that flair, for hyping up, comics and stuff and showing the excitement, expressing the excitement of the comic stories he was involved in. Um, and you know just I feel like I want to like spend some good time just reading his like soapbox and stuff, and I already have done a little bit of that, but I'd like to do more. So yeah, I don't know. Sorry, it's hard to concentrate on drawing and doing this a little bit. But yeah, I don't know. I love his excitement, and I've said this before, and I may do a proper video about this, but you know, the best story Stan Lee ever wrote was the story of Marvel Comics and the story of comics in general. It wasn't, Iron Man or Fantastic Four or any of that stuff. It was the love of comics, you know, and that's what you need to share, that passion. Um, if you're passionate, truly passionate about the medium, then let it be known. Um, and share that enthusiasm. If you're excited, share that excitement. And you don't have to like try to be fake about it or be like sharing like kind of like the those crazy salesmen that you hear on like, right, it's kind of fun to play around with that like a little bit. I see like Joshua Kimball do that a lot. Like he'll play the like crazy salesman for Scott's stuff or whatever when they're on the Artcasters or whatever. And it's fun to like joke around and kind of and stuff. But that's again bringing the fun into it, bringing a little bit of sarcasm into your promotions and stuff. So yeah, I don't know. The other thing is include your audience. This is something I've tried to do a lot, and I'm always trying to find new ways to do it. Excuse me. Um, and let's see. Oh, I think I have somebody here.
Hi there.
What is up? Who do I have here?
Russ.
What's that?
Hello.
Is it Russ? What's up,
Yeah.
Russ?
Hi there. Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt your free flow.
No, that's all right, man.
I was listening to what you were saying. It was very good.
So, what do you think? Do you have any tips that you've learned about promoting? Maybe you've learned something from some of the companies you've worked for and how they promote projects you've worked on, or
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm behind the curve as far as you guys are concerned because I haven't actively gone out there on my own yet. The marketing and promotion ranges from one company to another. From what I've seen so far, comic book publishers are pretty awful at it. They're not very good at promoting this stuff. I don't know if that's because they see a dwindling market, which might be part of it. So if you feel like you're spending money on marketing and self-promotion, but it's actually a reducing return, then it's difficult to put that money into PR. Because they're limited by Diamond, or the main comic companies are limited by Diamond, there's only so much they can do. So I'm probably not the person to ask because I've not been involved that much in that end of it, because I've been in my short career so far, it's mainly been page rates for other companies. I did a couple of graphic novels for Marcosia, who are it's a back end deal, so they take half the IP, but they print it and publish it, so it doesn't cost you anything but your time and effort. And for all intents and purposes, I got no marketing out of them whatsoever. So myself and the writer had to push. We did get a signing at two of the London conventions, which we did okay at. But apart from that, it was all our own effort as far as running around trying to get people aware. I think the tools are out there now, more so than ever. Something I noticed with the unicorns project you're on, is werewolves and unicorns, is it?
Yep.
Yeah, that the video for that is great, and you all the people involved, all you guys, I saw you and Peter like sharing that video out and putting it on your channels, and that's huge as well. I think YouTube and maybe what's the other one? Instagram. I think YouTube and Instagram are probably the ways forward now. They seem to be getting the most traction because Twitter seems to be a cesspool for people to argue with each other, and it's difficult to get your stuff out there as far as, look, this is just art and entertainment, have fun. Everybody wants to seemingly comment politically on it, and Facebook seems to be just the same circles. It's very much an echo chamber, and it's very difficult to reach outside of it, whereas YouTube is front facing. It's like there's loads of normies out there that will maybe pick up the channel by accident and go, oh wow, I really like the look of that, maybe I'll buy a comic for the first time. So I think what you guys are doing at the moment, and the little community that I've managed to come across on YouTube with you guys, I think you're all doing a great job. Stellar job.
Did we lose him? You still there, man?
Hello?
We might have lost.
Hello?
Oh, I hear you now.
Yeah. I'm just saying what you guys are doing. It's a stellar job. It's exactly what you should be doing.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it's interesting to see kind of the evolution and stuff, because we've all been involved in this group for a long time, and a lot of us, some of us are newer, but it's I've seen kind of people learn how to do some of this promotion stuff and get better at it, and myself included. And it's interesting to see how people are starting to do some of these things I'm talking about that I've been learning as well. So I think that's interesting, though, that you had a project out there, and the company didn't actually do as much work as maybe you would have thought, and you ended up being kind of having to do some of that yourself, or all of it, or a lot of it.
Yeah.
I've heard that to be the case. A lot of people feel like when they get a project with a company, that, oh, okay, cool, now I don't have to do the promotion. Well, I've heard that that's not really the case. In fact, you pretty much have to do the same thing as if you were to self-publish it yourself.
Yeah.
That's why whenever I think of doing a deal with like some kind of company, I'm like, well, first of all, can they do anything more for me than I can do? And if they can't, then is it really worth it?
No, I mean, unless they've got stellar numbers as far as publishing and delivery to comic shops or bookshops, and they've got a guaranteed outlet, unless they can guarantee you, or any creator, unless they can guarantee the numbers on bookshelves, then no, they're not going to do any more than you can do.
Yeah.
There's no point in relinquishing, for instance, if it's your idea and it's your IP, I don't see any point in relinquishing that to anybody else unless they've got something to bring. And these days, with the way crowdfunding is, a publisher that takes a back end fee, and unless they can guarantee you, 20, 30,000 sales because they have the throughput, then there's no point. You might as well just do crowdfunding and make your own marketing. That's certainly the way I'm going to be going now. I don't see any point. I mean, for the longest time, I worked in agencies and studios and what have you, and I was much like a lot of people under the impression that it's a safe thing. To work for someone else is safer than working for yourself. In some ways, that's true, but then you don't get to know all the things that are going on at a high level, and whether the company that you're working for is about to crash. Whereas if you are the person that's doing the job, if it's your business, or if you're freelancing for yourself, you can kind of see the problems coming. And certainly the way that things are working now, with people getting their own audiences on YouTube and through social media, and speaking directly, which is exactly what you were saying earlier about speaking directly to your audience and having them be part of your journey, I think that makes it all the more enticing for people to buy the book or buy the content. And you're in control. So it just makes it so much better for both sides, if you see what I mean. The consumer is getting something more out of it than literally just a story. They're getting connection with the creators of that story, and you're not relying on a company to pay you a page rate or to pay you back end fees. You can see what's happening as it happens in real time. So I was very much, I've said this before, all I wanted to do was draw for the Marvel ball pen. And when I first started drawing, all I was interested in was a page rate. And I was doing a page rate, drawing other books. And when those books ended, there was no soft landing. It was like, oh, okay, you're drawing 3 months ahead of when the next one is due. We're going to cancel it. And it gets cancelled, and you're just left high and dry. So the answer to that is to have your own books, to have your own IP, your own characters, to create a fan base or a readership that are interested in how that IP and that character grows. And then you add merch onto that. Like, people want t-shirts, they want mugs, all this thing. And you have to be the entrepreneur. It's not just being a creator now. You have to be the entrepreneur as well, and have lots of access to your ideas. And then you're in control of the business, rather than worrying about somebody who's above you deciding to either cancel what you're doing from a page rate perspective, or just spend all the profits of any book that you do have go through and just put it down as expenses, so you never see any back end profits.
Yeah, definitely. And that's one thing too, is a lot of the people who have been involved in like some of the things I'm working on now have already done an Indiegogo or a Kickstarter or something like that. And those platforms in and of themselves are actually great teachers, I think, because there's some very basic things that I've learned about promotion before I even thought about doing, those kind of things way back in the day and stuff. And, it's kind of ambiguous, like when you're not used to marketing and stuff, but just going through the process of like setting up a Kickstarter and, trying to get the word out there and stuff like that, all that stuff can actually teach you to do it. So it's worth maybe starting a small project first, or at least observing other people who do it. And learning from them. And again, I still look at, I really look at Stan Lee. I keep looking at him for really great stuff, because a lot of us artists, and Peter Simeti as well, because a lot of us artists, we tend to look at our art a lot more critically than our audience might. And so we constantly, like, instead of like being confident about the project we're trying to promote, or sharing that enthusiasm, we're also throwing in these little caveats here and there, and that's not really helpful for our cause. And honestly, most people don't, they don't see the flaws that we see. A lot of, especially if you're reaching out to readers and you're not, just reaching out to other creators, it's like, the most of the audience, they can sense like bad art when they see it or whatever. If your stuff is decent enough, even if it's not, like, you're gonna find an audience. You just have to. There's plenty of examples of stuff out there that do well that are not great art. Look at Beavis and Butthead. That's not the Mona Lisa or anything.
No, exactly.
Different examples.
And for instance, something like The Crow. Which at the time, the artwork was not great. He's developed as an artist, there's no doubt about it. But at the time, I would look at that and go, I'm not so sure about that. But it was a fantastic story, and it caught everybody's imagination. And he went on to improve his art, and actually ended up doing a lot of work with there was a company that was doing some digital stuff a while ago, and he made the headlines on it. So he's still out there drawing. Or last time I checked, he was. And that's a perfect example of a book that would never have been made by a larger publisher, and might even have been rejected from an art perspective, but still managed to sell well, and it is an enjoyable read. I've got a copy of it, and love going back to it. So yeah, it takes all sorts, and it's important that that you are confident about your work without being arrogant, and it's a tricky line because not everybody perceives confidence as you would like it to be portrayed. Some people will perceive it as arrogance, and there's not a lot you can do about that. But yeah, just trying to be confident and say, look, I've got these skills, I've got these abilities, and I want to share them. And I think they're worth sharing, and you should always feel that way.
Yeah, no doubt. And that's I was trying to think. Sorry, I had something to go off of that, but oh, this whole thing too of like no, like you have like a certain worry about like, are you gonna kind of bother people or stuff like that. It's easy to kind of get in that mode, but honestly, if people like your stuff, um, you might be a little annoying, but honestly, they're gonna stick around. They're not gonna. The people who really like your stuff are gonna stick around, and if
Yeah,
somebody's gonna leave, they probably weren't that into it in the first place, and it's okay. It's okay if they leave. I actually, I've been kind of pushing the email thing lately, and I through that I got a bunch of new subscribers, but I also got a bunch of people from my list unsubscribing, which
right.
I actually don't mind because first of all, when I started building my list, it was more for my hip hop music and stuff.
Yeah.
So a lot who are still on that list are old people from like my hip hop audience and stuff. So there's that. But also, even if that weren't the case, if me sending a few extra emails lately is bothering them and causes them to not want to be subscribed to me and they don't want to follow my stuff, that's fine. I'd rather not have the people who don't
Yeah.
like my stuff that much in there. I want the people who like my stuff. So if people leave, it's okay. That's part of like kind of figuring out your audience and getting to the right people.
Yeah,
So,
no doubt. Yeah, exactly. You don't want to be talking to people that aren't interested. It's a waste of their time and yours.
yeah. So another kind of thing that I've been learning, I kind of already knew this, but I really like seeing the example of Muttman and Macho Dan and some of the stuff they're doing. And this hero project that they're doing right now, which there's a link in the description. But if
Yeah.
they did this once before and actually didn't fund, um, and they learned, they didn't give up. They learned from that and came back stronger, and now they funded really quickly, and they're going on to bigger and better things within their campaign. So it's really awesome to see that. And one thing that I'm noticing that they've done is they've researched and looked into how to promote things, and they came to this conclusion that involving your audience in what you're doing and having them be a part of even the actual thing you're making, is something that is really a big deal right now, and people are really into that. And I think really always people would be into that.
Yeah.
Uh, but I've loved seeing how they've incorporated people into their process. Like they have certain rewards where you can be like a character in their book, or you could have your name on a gravestone, or like there's all these different little things. And even I've noticed on Twitter there are some people who have won those rewards who changed like their description or their name or whatever to like, I'm guy number 3 in the hero comic or whatever. I forget exactly like how they
That's cool.
it's like they get so excited that they're not only in it, but they're also promoting it even more because they're part of this actual project, you know,
Mm.
which I
No,
thought was an interesting take.
that's awesome. I mean, that's the way you should be doing it. I believe it's a new model. It's not something. I mean, there have been people putting names in books for a while now on Kickstarter and drawing people into pages and what have you. And it's not completely novel, but it is a very good idea, and we should always look around and take inspiration from other people's work and see, if there's a good idea, use it. Don't. There's plagiarism, and then there's just good ideas, and that's a cracking idea, and they've used it really well. And as I was saying before, I think things have changed. It's not like it was. I remember, reading comics as a kid and looking at the letters page, which is something I just don't do anymore. And the letters page was always so. It was always so warm. I
Hmm.
think that's what I got from Stan Lee and from the whole of Marvel when I was a kid. It was a very warm, welcoming place. It wanted you to come and read. It wanted you. It was like a massive family. And I'm not saying that's what it is, because obviously they were a money making publisher. That's what they did to make money. But Stan Lee made it feel, in the way that he wrote and in the way that he encouraged people to write letters. And he was always talking about, the readers and how they would come back and, you tell us what you want. And it succeeded because everybody became invested personally when they read Marvel Comics. And that's what's happening now with crowdfunding, and with the techniques that you were talking about there with the hero. Is it Hero, HIRO, isn't it?
Hmm.
Yeah, I've seen that. I think I'll be going and getting one of those. With the hero comic is those techniques of getting people involved in your production so that they feel part of it and they feel invested, which means they want to buy another book.
Absolutely. So I definitely am happy that you were able to jump on with me, man. It is a little bit of a shorter episode because I do have to go to work.
That's okay.
But I actually still have a lot more notes, and I think I could come up with more notes. So I might add to the title of this part one, and maybe come back and get it even deeper into this, because there's so much to talk about when it comes to this.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a
and
huge subject here.
yeah, and it's interesting because we're all like, I just see so many people in indie comics like trying all kinds of different things, and we're all learning kind of together, and
Mm,
it's really cool to kind of learn from the ground up, because we're learning new tactics, and it's interesting because, like I said, the big two, and maybe even more than the big two, are not, they're not really practicing this stuff. They're more focused on their movies and stuff. So
mm.
good for them, and we're gonna kind of take advantage of the space that they've created for us.
That's exactly it. There's an opportunity here, and that's how people need to see it, an opportunity.
Absolutely. Now I just need to find where the pages of the thing, that the actual Google Hangout, because it's like hidden behind all these windows. It's so crazy. I don't even know. Oh, there's the script for Lone Wolf. Yeah. So, where is it? Oh, is this it? It's so weird. It goes away sometimes. Looks like we do have people in the chat. What's up, Ronnie? Christopher, James, how you guys doing? Thanks for coming in. Dave Hingley, how you doing, man? Let's see if there's any questions that I can hit real quick. Dave Hingley asks, he said, "Camera's off. You're not naked, are you?"
No, no. I'll put it back on. There you go. You don't want to see my ugly mutt.
That's funny. No, I'm not naked. I'm just drawing. Honestly, I don't know where the heck the screen. How do you bring up the screen for the Hangout if it went away?
I don't know.
So weird. Let's see. Yeah,
Is
I
it
don't
in
know what to do.
screen share? If you stop sharing,
Yeah, let's see. Maybe if I do that. Nope, that didn't do
no.
anything. Let's see.
There you go.
Huh. I don't get it. Oh, there it is. All right. So sorry for all the foibles here, but people, I should have said this earlier, but if you guys want to go check out Russ's channel, the comic book Black Belt, is that a Black
That's
Belt?
that's me. Yeah, comic book black belt. Yeah.
So go to the comic book Black Belt, check out Russ's stuff, step into the dojo. He's got a lot of really cool videos, a lot of amazing art.
Thank
Um,
you.
I don't know. I love it. So go to his stuff, check out, subscribe to his channel. And you know where to find me, donkeyjawprojects.com. I do have to get going to work and make this thing happen to the I always forget what is it, the side hustle, 9 to 5.
Side hustle.
All right, guys. Thanks, Russ, for coming on.
No
And
problem. Have a good day.
you too, man. We'll talk to you on the next one.